It was huge in grocery. Would be going to end up being huge in mass merchandise. You got checkout lines that are were much worse than grocery stores were in terms of customer satisfaction. So you had to find a way to get people through. You needed data systems to be able to project how many registers you needed open by time of day, and so forth. And it was different in some sense, but the fact of the matter is that my own now as a consumer, as a shopper, and I go through the grocery, I remember a study that was done in the 60s. I was office next door to Marvin Mann. I was in charge of our marketing to consumer goods manufacturers. Marvin was the one that was in the pit with John Akers and Paul Palmer and our directors on getting us into the point of sale business. And well, I've lost my train of thought here all of a sudden. Yeah, and I watched what they had to go through, and it was very difficult. They went through a lot of hassle within IBM because that determined that we needed a specialized sales force in IBM to handle point of sale. That it was a different animal. The competition was a different and very experienced and very good animal. And it was, you couldn't put that product line in the hands of the general IBM salesman. Oh, that was a shockwave in IBM to have a dedicated sales organization to store systems. Well, by the time I came along into the job many years later, that was already in place. A couple of times they tried to take it away from me. Whoever was our division president at the time was smart enough to say, no, you're just going to want those guys because they're good and they're going to wind up selling database or something. No, and don't do it and so I continued to have a sales organization out there that understood the front end of retailing and could combine with my account executives and stuff that knew the back end. And so we could perform, I think, very well from a service standpoint to the customer. We could add value at all levels, at all steps of their operation, and that was key. There were committees that were put together that, frankly, I did not personally interact with. They were there. I left it to guys like Jack Brill in our organization to deal with those, Jim Lovejoy and his people. So there was a lot of committee work that was going on. I know that both Dave Carlson from Kmart and Bobby Martin from Walmart, who at that time were the IT execs, were on the committee and were, lo and behold, evidently working together along with a lot of others on getting standards established and processes established. And Tom Wilson, who did that role so very well with the grocery industry, was also involved with them. And so those are people who can speak to that work, and it was hard work that had to be done. They had the advantage of a pattern that had been established by the food industry. There was a pattern there, and you could pick what was good and slice off what hadn't been all effective and go to it. But I think the industry responded very, very quickly. Going back to my hero in this story was Roger Milliken. As I spoke to him, he passed away a year or so ago. I spoke to him about a year earlier. And so about a year prior to that, we had spoken. And as he put it, yes, we did a lot. It's just too bad I couldn't convince the government to put in quotas, import quotas. And he's right. The the uh, the developing countries with their low labor rates got into it. They became specialists in this, and they could turn around their manufacturing styles pretty quickly, and then the transportation industry took it there. And yes, it's a shame that a lot of that labor is I'm looking for the right term, is undercompensated. Exploited may be a harsh term, but exploited, that's true. And the American consumer is probably aware of that, but what particularly the way the economy had been from 2008 through present time, any place that they could pick up some pennies less was important to them, and how it got that way took kind of a back seat. There go the Buy America campaign was falling on a lot of would have fallen on a lot of deaf ears. And so we are now we're a global world, we're a global economy. That's another advantage that IBM had. IBM has been a global company for almost 100 years. We've established corporate companies in every 170 nations. And so as we go global and as our customers then go global, IBM has been able to go global with them. And that's been helpful.